Hey guys, what is up? My name is Austin and welcome back to the Hackers Gym. In this series here, we're doing a bunch of different Hack the Box challenges on my path to pursuing my OSCP. These are a lot of fun. They teach a lot about cybersecurity and hacking, and our goal is to do all of them or as much as we can before we get stumped. And this one here, I have a really cool one that has to do with AI and ML. And if you guys have been living on the rock, security behind AI and machine learning is a really hot thing right now. So this is a really cool kind of challenge. It's an entry-level challenge to help you kind of understand more about AI and ML. And at the end of the day, that's really what we should be doing with these challenges. So these challenges should not only test your skills, but they should also teach you too. And if you're not kind of learning along the way, you might be doing challenges that are too easy or just too within your wheelhouse. I really like to do challenges that kind of expand my knowledge and show me things that I don't know. Anyways, this one's called Uplink Artifact. We're not given any servers. We have a scenario and we have files to download. The only file that we're given once we unzip it is a CSV file. Now I'm actually going to zoom in a little bit so you guys can see here. And the CSV file has 4 different columns. We have X, Y, and Z, and then we have a label. So we have different points here, and just by looking at it and guessing, we can probably plot this on a 3D map, and then we have different labels here. And if we look through these numbers a little more here, we can see we have a range between 0 and I believe the highest we go is 24, which is a pretty dead giveaway with QR codes. QR codes are generally 25 by 25. And this is one thing that's kind of gamified. You're looking for a secret code or a secret challenge. If you're out pen testing the world, you're probably not looking for a QR code amongst this data here. So in my opinion, this is more of a kind of game to teach you skills. But again, that's okay because we're kind of learning along the way here, right? So I went ahead and actually used AI to write the script for me. And all that I'm doing in this script is I'm taking this CSV file and I'm taking all those points and I'm applying them into a 3D space. And we're using this matplotlib right here, which is a very popular Python library. You could spend a long time just learning about this as is, but this is what we're using to help plot these points in more of a scientific kind of mathematical library and data set here. Now, before we jump into this, you might be wondering, what does this CSV file has to do with machine learning or AI? Well, it's actually pretty similar to how data is handled in machine learning. In AI, machine learning data is sometimes represented as vector values, and when you have a bunch of these kind of data values plotted on a point, you can start to analyze trends over time and kind of gain a consensus from there. You can also see how far away one point is from another. So when you talk about tokens or you talk about some type of output, you can see how close these are in relation with each other based on your data set. Now, I know it's extremely grossly oversimplified about AI, and AI, again, is a really interesting topic that you can spend a really long time learning about. But right now, let's just focus on this challenge here and know that this is kind of your gateway into learning more about AI. And that's kind of the goal with this stuff here. And I'm always super curious about stuff. And once I kind of get my entry, it's like, oh, well, if you really simplify it, it's kind of like a CSV file. And then we can analyze trends here. And then maybe we can manipulate the data somehow. We can do this with that or that with that. And that's kind of the cool thing about these challenges, especially the very easy ones. They kind of get your entry and your foothold into it. And then you can start exploring it more and more. So this is a very short Python script here, but all that we're really doing is loading the file. We validate some data. We set up our chart. And then we show it. So we have this 3D image, and we have a bunch of stuff going on. It's kind of hard to make sense of it all. The one thing that is interesting here is it looks like layer 1 is all very, very, very similar here. But remember what we said before. It might be a QR code, and if it's 25 by 25, which we can see in our chart here, that's a dead giveaway for a QR code, but I can't really see anything yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate the layers out here. So now for the second script here, we validate the columns, we plot the points in 3D, and then we also do it in 2D too, because remember, a QR code is going to be in 2D, and that's kind of what we're doing with the image a second ago. We're kind of rotating to see where we could go there. But let's go ahead and let's save this and let's run this here. It's worth noting with the 2D here, we're kind of ignoring the Z value. Remember our hunch that we had before, a QR code? In this case here, between 0 and 24, this Z column, these don't seem to have any relation to the QR code. Maybe we're wrong. We'll find this out in a second, but right now I'm more interested in this here. Remember with these challenges, there's a million different rabbit holes you can go down. Sometimes you have to go down the hole that seems the most obvious, or the one that seems like it's going to have the most leads, and then you can explore other options from there. But if you spend all your time trying to cover everything, you're going to waste a ton of time. Anyways, my second script here, I'm going to run solution 2. And we have label 0. I keep calling them layers. And I don't see a QR code here. So let's move on. Let's check this out in 2D. I don't see a lot going on here in 2D. It looks kind of random to me. We have label 1 in 3D. Again, not a whole lot. Maybe something there. Maybe something here. No, not seeing a whole lot of it. So we can close that. Aha, now we have something here. So this is label 1 in 2D. You can see we have what looks like a QR code. And if I start to kind of change this up a little bit here, you can really start to see that QR code take hold there. Label 2, remember we have 4 different labels here. That doesn't look like much. That doesn't look like much either there. 2D, I mean, nothing a whole lot going on here. And then we have label 3. Not a whole lot here either. And then nothing here. So remember, label 1 really seemed to be like a QR code to me. So we made one more script here. In this case, we're going to actually spit out a QR code. We have a PNG, so this way we could upload it to a website or a scanner if we wanted to. I'm just going to use my phone to be honest here. We have the main function. We load the file. We set it up. And let's go ahead and run solution 3 now. And now we have our QR code from here. Now, one thing to note here is if I change the window size, you can really see it start to, I mean, that's a QR code. If you're going to tell me it's not a QR code, you're wrong. But anyways, from here, you could scan it with your phone, and it should reveal the flag. I'm going to do that just to confirm. And boom, looks like it worked properly here. So in this challenge here, again, it's not so much about, hey, this is exactly what it's going to look like when you're out in the wild and pen testing a website's data model and this and that here. But it kind of leads you along that path. It teaches you that really these points in machine learning could be set up as, it could be simplified as a CSV file. You probably wouldn't want to do that because it's going to be a gigantic CSV file. And what you can do with these points, you can start to track patterns and trends along the way. So if you guys learned anything at all in this video, I know I'm learning a whole lot doing these videos. Be sure to give me a thumbs up. Hopefully you guys will join me on my journey. And one of the things I think is really cool here is there's so many different little categories that you can become an expert in and just spend a ton of time learning. I love to learn, and I think that's super cool. That you can just endless learning. It's like an RPG game that you can keep leveling up your character on and on and on. But these skills are in the real world, so I think it's super cool. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed, be sure to let me know, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take it easy.